Hello, you're watching the development vlog for Shoken, a multi-platform waitlist management app for busy establishments to manage their waitlists during their busiest hours. This is week 48 of development, and the current condition is that the Android Alpha is ready for testing and already published on Google Play Store. iOS and web are not there yet. The more detailed explanation is that iOS does share the business logic as well as the UI code with Android, but the platform-specific parts of it weren't implemented. And web, I'll have to take a bit more detailed look into that before I can provide a more realistic timeline. Over the last 4 weeks, I've been away from my desk, and as a result, nothing really got done. I was a bit too optimistic. I brought my laptop with me with my development environment, and I thought I could get some work done. But it turns out that that was actually much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So really, I didn't really look at it. If you think about it, on vacation, you can choose between working on a tiny 13, 14-inch laptop screen compared to, your gigantic multi-monitor setup at home, or getting a little sightseeing done, getting a little food action done, and walking around. It's not surprising that I didn't really get anything done. That said, in the next week, I have 2 tasks at hand. Number 1 is the rediscovery and evaluation of the tooling, specifically the AI tools I've been relying on. Before November, before I left the country, I was using mostly codecs from OpenAI to assist with my coding. And as you would imagine, a month is a period of eternity in AI, and a lot of things took place over the last month. And specifically, Gemini 3 was released, Claude Sonnet 4.5 and Claude Opus 4.5 were released. Codex got upgraded to 5.1. So I need to look into those tools and then sort of make a decision for myself as to which one I should be choosing to use going forward. So far, Opus 4.5 has surprised me, not in the way that I really want to be surprised by. One of the biggest issues that I had with the Claude models is that they like to be overly optimistic. They hide what they cannot accomplish and then sort of not directly lie to you, but omit important information about their failures in terms of implementation so that you can overlook things. And I think this still hasn't changed, or at least not by my experience. But what has been very, very surprising is that I did manage to fix a UI bug that Codex 5.1 Max on high thinking was not able to diagnose. So I got to do a bit more testing to see which one I would prefer. And the other thing is that the community seems to be pretty excited about Gemini 3. I have not been using Gemini 3 in my development, mostly due to the lack of maturity in their tooling. That said, though, again, a month is plenty of time in AI, so I like to look into Gemini CLI and see how well it's working. Ideally, by the end of next week, I will have a more defined path forward with regards to the tool that I will use. And that's task number 1. Task number 2 is I will start looking into actually implementing iOS. Like I mentioned earlier, iOS business logic as well as UI code are shared in my Kotlin multi-platform code base. And I used Compose multi-platform specifically for this purpose because I really don't want to touch native iOS UI code. That said, again, platform-specific stuff, you can't avoid that. And I'm going to look into it in terms of how to make it work with my KMP project. Before I started the project earlier this year, I did look into it and did a trivial implementation in iOS. It didn't look too bad, so I don't think it's going to take me forever. That said, it is an area of unfamiliarity for me, and I would expect some level of effort there. Now, to be clear, next week is not to have it implemented. Next week is to discover the scope of the implementation and then come up with a plan for it. The goal, of course, is that both Android and iOS would be in a publishable state in alpha, or at least a test version. I know iOS doesn't have alpha track, and it only has beta track, by the end of this year. So in the next couple of weeks, that's the goal, primary goal for this particular app. That's it. So in summary, last 4 weeks, nothing got done. Next week, number one, define tooling, and number two, discover iOS implementation and then come up with a plan. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week.